got should have already been changed. That should be the logo of the WNBA. Of course, the old school WNBA fans, all about this many of them that existed. That makes them furious. I don't care. Y'all can keep trying to gatekeep this league all you want. I don't care. They're trying to take this asset. Stephanie White seems to be completely in over her head. Once again,
The Indiana Fever organization faces mounting scrutiny regarding their management of what many consider the most valuable asset in women's professional basketball. Caitlin Clark's emergence has transformed the economic landscape of the WNBA, creating unprecedented commercial opportunities while simultaneously exposing organizational limitations in maximizing this potential. Clark's market value extends beyond traditional basketball metrics, encompassing television ratings, merchandise sales, attendance figures, and overall league visibility. Her individual brand power arguably exceeds the combined drawing power of other league players, representing a transformational figure whose impact transcends statistical contribution.
The franchise does not understand what they've got in their possession right now, which is Caitlin Clark, and they're going to blow it. So, of course, Indiana Fever social media, woo! Got to tell you guys, y'all showed up in the comments. Before we jump into said comments over the disastrous loss, I stumbled across a picture this morning.
The suggestion that Clark's signature three-point shooting motion should become the official WNBA logo reflects her iconic status and marketing potential. Such branding opportunities could revolutionize league identity and commercial appeal, though traditionalist perspectives within basketball circles resist such dramatic changes. Current coaching leadership under Stephanie White has generated significant criticism regarding strategic decisions and player management. Observers suggest that White appears overwhelmed by the heightened expectations and media attention accompanying Clark's presence on the roster.
Jason Whitlock said it the other day, and I pointed right at my television screen, which is over to the right of me, when I was watching Whitlock, and he said, they need to hire an NBA coach like Mark Jackson. And I became the Leo DiCaprio meme holding the beer and the cigarette pointing at the TV, because when Christy Sides got fired last year, I said, hire Mark Jackson or Larry Bird. You need a National Basketball Association male coach in there.
Industry experts have proposed alternative coaching solutions, including hiring experienced NBA coaches who possess the credentials and temperament necessary for high-pressure situations. Suggestions have included Mark Jackson and Larry Bird, both of whom have Indiana connections and proven coaching track records. The rationale for male NBA coaching candidates centers on their immunity to internal league politics and their focus on basketball fundamentals rather than interpersonal dynamics. Such coaches would presumably prioritize player development and team success without being influenced by existing relationships or league culture conflicts.
That I found rather interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. All right. This is Caitlin Clark playing against the Sun, the Connecticut Sun. And it looks like right here, her leg is wrapped pretty high. Okay. So I've got to wonder. Was the left quad injury?
Clark's current injury situation raises questions about the timing and circumstances of her physical problems. Her shooting struggles preceded the official injury announcement, suggesting that groin issues may have been affecting her performance for an extended period. Statistical analysis reveals that Clark's recent shooting percentages indicate more than typical performance variance. Shooting 1 of 23 from three-point range suggests mechanical problems likely related to physical limitations rather than temporary form issues. This marks Clark's sixth game absence of the season, creating significant challenges for team continuity and competitive positioning. The duration of her absence remains uncertain, with medical staff providing limited information about recovery timelines or injury severity.
That doesn't give a rip what any of these other women in this league think. Doesn't have a connection to them. None of that, but has a connection to Indiana, obviously a deep-seated one. Both have coached. Both have done well. Larry's getting long in the tooth. I get it, but he could probably do it for a couple of years. My point was a couple of years, similar style to Caitlin Clark's play.
Video analysis of potential injury incidents shows Clark involved in physical contact during the closing moments of a decided game against Seattle. The specific play involved contact near the basket, though observers noted no obviously dirty or intentional harmful contact from opposing players. The decision to keep Clark in the game during meaningless final seconds has generated criticism about player welfare priorities. With the outcome already determined, her continued participation exposed her to unnecessary injury risk without competitive justification. White's press conference responses regarding the injury timeline and medical details revealed concerning gaps in coaching staff knowledge. Her admission of limited information about MRI results and treatment protocols suggests insufficient communication between coaching and medical personnel.
Did it affect the groin injury that's going on here? This person says, is anybody going to explain why Caitlin's groin was taped during the Sun game? Did they allow her to play injured for 3 games? That's a good question. That is a good question, because one of the things we got to think about is
the coaching staff learned of the injury late last night, despite Clark undergoing MRI testing the previous day. This timing suggests either delayed diagnostics communication or inadequate monitoring of player physical status during games and practices. White's characterization of the injury as day-to-day conflicts with typical groin strain recovery timelines, which often require weeks rather than days for complete healing. This disconnect between medical reality and coaching expectations raises questions about informed decision-making processes. The back-to-back game schedule's impact on injury development remains unclear, with White acknowledging uncertainty about physical factors while scarcing personal concerns about workload management. This ambiguity reflects broader questions about player load management and injury prevention protocols.
Get her into the hump, over the hump of the trials and tribulations of being in a professional league. Caitlin Clark is out. I did that video earlier, of course. She is out tonight. We really don't know how long she's going to be out. There is a video that surfaced that some people are claiming that's where she got hurt. But I will contend, and I will die on this hill, that she has been hurt for as long.
Fan frustration with coaching performance has escalated beyond honeymoon period tolerance, with supporters expressing dissatisfaction about strategic decisions, player management, and communication transparency. The elevated expectations accompanying Clark's presence create intense scrutiny for all organizational personnel. Historical patterns suggest that Clark's physical problems emerged following recent coaching and training staff changes, leading some observers question whether new personnel adequately understand her physical maintenance requirements and injury prevention needs. Speculation about Clark's motivations includes theories about protest against coaching decisions or strategic disagreements manifesting as absence from team activities. While unsubstantiated, such theories reflect broader concerns about player-coach relationships and strategic alignment.
What kind of directives are going to come from the WNBA and from the Fever front office and ownership? That's a cash cow on attendance, on ratings. Her being out is literally a disaster for the WNBA. And for the Fever, and I mean monetary disaster. So is she going to, I'm sure she wants to play and probably wants.
League-wide implications extend beyond individual team success to fundamental questions about player safety protocols and officiating standards. The accumulation of physical contact throughout the season may have contributed to Clark's current condition through repeated stress and impact. Previous incidents involving questionable plays against Clark have raised concerns about inadequate protection for star players. The Marina Mabre eye contact incident and other aggressive defensive tactics have created patterns of physical targeting that potentially contribute to injury accumulation. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert faces pressure to address player safety concerns before additional injuries affect the league's most marketable athletes. The economic consequences of losing Clark to injury could devastate television ratings, attendance figures, and overall commercial viability.
Is this 3-point streak, the struggling streak? Look, guys, it's one thing to struggle and be like 5 of 23 or 6 of 23 or some shit like that. 1 of 23 tells you there is something physically off about the shot. All right, she'll miss her 6th game of the year tonight against the LA Sparks. We don't know how long she's going to be out. So Stephanie White has made
The potential for Clark to seek alternative playing opportunities overseas represents an existential threat to WNBA commercial success. European leagues offer significantly higher compensation packages, with players like Brittany Griner reportedly earning over $1 million annually in international competition. Television networks that dramatically increased rights fees based partly on Clark's drawing power might reconsider their investments if she becomes unavailable for extended periods. Media contracts often include performance clauses and audience guarantee provisions that could be affected by star player absence. The Indiana Fever organization possesses the potential to become a billion-dollar franchise over the next several years if they successfully maximize Clark's commercial appeal. However, this potential requires competent management of both basketball operations and business development initiatives.
to give it a go, but I find that very interesting that leg was taped like that far back. By the way, again, her three-point shot, something is wrong, and it looks like something was physically wrong. I got to tell you, Indiana Fever are going to monkey around and mess this whole deal up. They're going to mess this whole deal up. So, Indiana Fever's social media.
Current franchise leadership faces unprecedented pressure typically associated with major market teams in established leagues. The comparison to Lakers, Celtics, Cowboys, and Yankees reflects the elevated expectations and media scrutiny that accompanies transformational athletic figures. White's coaching experience may prove insufficient for managing the intense spotlight and commercial pressures accompanying Clark's presence. The position requires skills beyond traditional basketball coaching, including media management, player psychology, and organizational leadership under extreme scrutiny. Organizational decision-making processes must account for the broader implications of personnel choices and strategic decisions. Individual coaching moves affect not only team performance but also commercial viability and long-term franchise sustainability.
Some comments, and let me show you this play first. People are wondering, why the hell was Caitlin Clark in this game, a game that was over with 16 seconds left against the Storm? They won the game.
Basketball of
but
the season.
some people are saying that Caitlin Clark got injured
As Clark's back in.
right
She
there.
goes down.
All right, on that play
And
that just happened. That it may be where the injury transpired. Right there. Let's see her getting up. That looks like
The medical staff's role becomes crucial in balancing competitive pressures with long-term player health considerations. Premature return from injury could create lasting physical problems that affect both Clark's career trajectory and the franchise's commercial prospects. Recovery timeline uncertainty creates challenges for roster planning, strategic preparation, and fan engagement initiatives. Extended absences require alternative entertainment value and competitive strategies to maintain audience interest during star player unavailability. The situation highlights broader questions about WNBA infrastructure and organizational maturity in managing transformational talents. Traditional league operations may prove inadequate for supporting athletes whose impact transcends normal basketball business models. Future coaching candidates will likely face enhanced scrutiny regarding their qualifications for managing high-profile situations and maximizing star player potential. The position requires skills that extend beyond traditional basketball knowledge to include business acumen and media sophistication.
85-75 final fatality is what they ought to have on there, like it's Mortal Kombat. I mean, the way some of these games have been, and last night, thankfully, it really nothing broke out. Do you notice nothing breaks out, it seems like, when Caitlin Clark doesn't play? And we're supposed to believe that she's not potentially targeted by players in this league. Funny how that.
Player safety protocols may require comprehensive review to ensure adequate protection for athletes whose individual success affects overall league viability. Current standards that prove sufficient for typical players may inadequately protect those whose absence creates systemic consequences. The intersection of athletic performance, commercial value, and organizational competence creates complex challenges that require sophisticated solutions. Traditional approaches to player management and coaching may prove prove insufficient for maximizing unprecedented opportunities while protecting invaluable assets. The Indiana Fever organization faces mounting criticism following another disappointing defeat, this time against the LA Sparks in a game that highlighted ongoing systemic issues within the franchise. The loss has intensified discussions about coaching effectiveness, player health management, and organizational decision-making processes.
Erica Wheeler to me. And I don't see anything dirty there, you know. But some people are wondering, man, if that's the case, holy hell. Again, I contend she's had that injury. I think that's what's been affecting the shot. Either that or there's something else going on there. Stephanie White has come out. She just made comments about Caitlin Clark's groin.
The game against the Sparks revealed familiar patterns of fourth-quarter struggles as Indiana surrendered a lead during the final period. Kelsey Plum's exceptional performance for the visiting team exposed defensive vulnerabilities that have become recurring themes throughout the season. The defeat was particularly concerning given the opposition's inferior record and the home court advantage. Stephanie White's coaching decisions continue to draw scrutiny from supporters and analysts who question the team's offensive identity and strategic approach. The motion offense system that was implemented has failed to produce consistent results, leading to broader questions about whether the coaching staff understands how to maximize their available talent. A significant concern emerging from recent games involves Caitlin Clark's physical condition and potential injury management. Photographic evidence from the Connecticut Sun game shows extensive taping on Clark's upper leg area, raising questions about whether she has been competing while dealing with undisclosed health issues.
That works. I just thought about that right here on the spot, talking to you guys. So here we go, a little reaction coming from fans. Yeah, Stephanie White has to go. Lost to a 4-11 team at home. It's inexcusable. So we can't win games without Clark? ? I said last night, there's 2 teams in this league.
The taping pattern suggests possible groin-related concerns, which could be connected to her previously reported quad injury. Medical experts often note that compensation patterns from one injury can lead to problems in adjacent muscle groups, potentially explaining the apparent progression from quad issues to groin concerns. The timing and extent of any potential injury raises questions about medical protocols and decision-making processes within the organization. As the franchise's primary attraction for attendance and television ratings, Clark represents significant financial value that could influence medical clearance decisions beyond purely health-related consideration. Clark's shooting performance has notably declined in recent games, with her three-point accuracy showing marked regression from earlier season levels. Physical discomfort or altered mechanics due to injury compensation could explain these statistical changes, though definitive causation remains unclear without official medical disclosure.
Injury.
With Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
Back to back, a factor at all with that?
I mean, I don't know that it's a factor from a physical standpoint.
The broader implications of potential injury mismanagement extend beyond individual player health to encompass league-wide concerns about player safety protocols and organizational responsibilities. The WNBA's growth and visibility have created increased pressure to maintain star player availability, potentially conflicting with conservative medical approaches. Fan reactions to the recent loss have been particularly vocal, with social media responses reflecting deep frustration about coaching decisions, player utilization, and overall team performance. The criticism has focused on specific in-game management choices that appeared to contradict logical strategic thinking. Sophie Cunningham's strong performance followed by reduced playing time became a focal point of criticism as supporters questioned the logic of removing productive players during crucial game moments. Similar concerns were raised about Kelsey Mitchell's benching after a period of effective scoring, suggesting broader issues with rotation management.
They shouldn't be able to beat without Caitlin. And it's the Lynx and it's the Liberty. But every other team, they should look, they got Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell are real players. They're real threats. And they certainly got, Lexi Hall, has kind of turned this into a big four. One could argue they got a big three without Caitlin Clark. Cunningham, McDonald. I mean, this team has got talent.
The defeat against a team with a significantly inferior record has amplified concerns about the franchise's ability to compete consistently without Clark in the lineup. This dependency has raised questions about roster construction and player development strategies that should theoretically create more balanced competitive capacity. Some observers have noted the apparent correlation between Clark's absence and reduced on-court confrontations, suggesting that her presence may indeed attract additional physical attention from opponents. This observation supports arguments about targeted treatment while also highlighting the complex dynamics surrounding star player protection. The coaching situation has deteriorated to the point where some supporters have begun advocating for the return of previous coaching staff, despite earlier criticism of those same individuals. This dramatic reversal illustrates the depth of current dissatisfaction with organizational direction and decision-making.